with the newest Overwatch season, number 9, being recently released, at least when you guys are seeing this video, for about 72 hours now. We got an entire game pretty much getting overhauled with a bunch of health changes, projectile / damage type changes, with like increasing the ability to be able to land consistent damage on everything, and a bunch of other balance changes with the game. So it's time for another tier list. We also got an entire ranked overhaul as well, with a ranked reset and a brand new rank of champion. So it's going to be the Season 9 hero tier list. Keep in mind it's going to be for your average players. I'm not a pro player. Like it's going to be for like your tier list for like your mid-tier silver all the way up to like your high-tier plat, low-tier diamond, like diamond 5. The majority of your players are usually in around in gold, so that's kind of what this tier list is for. And at least for me, I haven't got my ranks yet. But at least last season I finished the majority in like mid-tier gold, so that's kind of where I am personally. I also do play the game on the Switch. I'm mainly a tank player, so I'm going to be kind of biased for the tanks during this as well. So a lot of stuff to talk about. If I'm going to be real with you guys, at least going in this as well, keep in mind when I'm recording this, like we're going off like the base patch for Season 9, we're already getting rumors that they're going to be having a bunch of balance hotfixes within the next few days, at the start of next week, possibly. So there's going to probably be some balance changes, because right now the balance with the game is absolutely fucking awful, and it's just an absolute atrocity to play, mainly for your tanks. The DPS, the majority of the DPS feel decent to play, and the supports feel decent to play. But there's a lot of tanks in the game right now that is absolutely unplayable. We got a brand new passive for the DPS as well that allows you to get 20% reduced healing on anything that you actually put damage on. So like if you're damaging a tank or like anything, if they get healing for 2 seconds during that time, they have 20% reduced healing. So that's also rumored to be getting changed in some way, whether it's the duration or the percentage amount. We're not sure, but that's rumored to be getting changed. And there's a bunch of other stuff as well, so I'll throw the list on screen for you guys right now. There's not going to be too much on screen, so if you guys wanted to tap out, listen to me talk, that'd be completely fine as well. And as always, if you guys like these Overwatch videos, and you guys want me to continue bringing them your guys' way every single new season, leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and share the video. Really appreciate it. We got pretty much the same format as last time. SS tier, this is stuff that is the best of the best. If you want to win games right now, this is the stuff you play. Play it before it gets nerfed or somehow changed, because like I said, there's rumors that they're going to be hotfixing with a lot of balance changes this next week. Depending where you guys are seeing this, that may have already changed. I'm not sure, but at least when we're recording this, it has not. So abuse the stuff in SS tier while you can. Then we got the A+ tier. This is the best stuff. Not like broken tier stuff, but on the cusp of being broken. There's really, really good stuff. A tier is average, B is below average, C is more situational, D is borderline unplayable / has only like one map or like one specific niche why you would ever play it. Apart from that, it's really bad. F tier is your unplayable heroes. These are heroes that you're going to be playing if you just want to throw your game. Absolutely is unplayable stuff. And then you got the need to rework tier, which is just the stuff that needs to be reworked. Which there actually is a lot of stuff that in the game right now that probably does need to have some rework. And there's also a hero that also got reworked with the Season 9 launch, which we'll talk about, which I don't know why they reworked her, when there's a bunch of other stuff in the game that needs to be reworked, but we'll talk about it. Without further ado, let's hop right into this. We're going to start off with Bastion. I'm going to be going through all the heroes well up until Maga. We did not get a new hero this season, so just going to be talking about those. Start off with Bastion. Bastion's going right in A+ tier. Incredibly good. Incredibly good. He just melts. And being that Bastion is always a tank killer, right now the thing that the DPS want to do, the common theme you're going to see with this tier list as well, is the DPS, their main thing right now, how they get value, is you just non-stop focus the tank. That is what the DPS are meant to do, even more so now than ever, because with the passive of not being able to let them heal for 20% less healing, it pretty much makes the DPS like instant tank killers. So if the tanks do not have a shield, all you do is just shred their shield if they do have one. And if they don't have a shield, as long as you're shooting at the tank, they're pretty much unsurvivable. They just die and they fall over immediately. They pretty much just die right away. So That's kind of what the theme you're going to see with a lot of the DPS throughout this video. Or at least with this list. Bastion, no exception. Apart from that, nothing's really changed with him, but like the main thing is he has the best passive in the game now, which I do think is the DPS passive. I really do. So, and he's actually one of the DPS in the game that is a shield melter. So if they run like Rein Hog or like any of the tanks that have any type of shields, you switch to Bastion and you just demolish their shields. And if they have no shields, they fall over and the tanks just die immediately. Because the tanks right now are just garbage with the DPS passive and a bunch of other stuff. So next we got McCree. I'm putting McCree at a B tier. McCree is a little bit better than he was in Season 8, but everything got its health buffed. If you guys know, they went through the entire game. They buffed the health for all the tanks, all the DPS heroes, and all the supports. The problem with McCree is, like, you're able to land shots a lot easier now, too, because they pretty much buffed the projectiles and, like, pretty much made everything easier in the game. Like, every single hero in the game has, like, easier to land shots, mainly the DPS and the support heroes, because they changed like the projectile size and a bunch of other stuff with like hit scan, and now it's really easy to land headshots. Like you don't really even need to like aim for headshots. As long as you're aiming at somebody, like you're gonna be landing a lot of headshots. I think the only problem with McCree is he kind of is an alt bot. Like that's the only reason you're gonna be playing him. That's the thing that really holds him back. He gets dove way too easily, and the problem now is he just doesn't have enough damage. Even if you land headshots, everything else got increased health. So, like, the problem is he still can't really kill anything. He just gets dove way too easy. I think the main problem with McCree is he's just an alt bot. He needs to have his damage buffed, and they need to buff his magnetic grenade again, because his grenade is garbage. His dodge roll is okay with, like, the damage immunity, but it needs more distance. I think that's one thing they can buff about him. And I think his damage needs a slight buff. I really do. Because I feel like it is really underwhelming. He's kind of more of an alt bot with high and new, and that's about all you really get out of him. D.Va got some buffs to her ult. Her ult's actually crazy now. It has a huge AoE, and it got buffed up to 1,000 damage. But at the same time, the problem with D.Va right now is she's a tank that has no shield. She has a defense matrix that is resource-based, and what the DPS do is they'll just target you non-stop. And as long as you're taking damage, you're never going to get any heals. So you're pretty much forced to sit and hide behind cover for like half the game if you want to get full heals. And if you're diving somebody, you're never going to be getting any type of healing. So if you dive somebody right away and they do not die instantly, you're pretty much guaranteed dead. Especially for the DPS, because they're just able to prevent you from healing and getting any type of support from your team. You guys are gonna see a common theme with a lot of the tanks that have no shields in this list as well, because the tanks that have no shields are unable to actually stay out of the DPS passive long enough to have any value. And they pretty much just get shut down by everything in the game currently, just mainly because of that. D.Va's no exception. I think D.Va's like a C tier. I really do. She has really good damage. Like, I think the only thing that she really has going for her is like she's a really good alt bot. Like, she just farms ult crazy now. Like, her ult's probably the best thing about her now because they buffed it. Apart from that, I think that's all she really does. She's an alt bot that doesn't really do much else. She has okay damage, and she just farms ult. That's about all she really does currently. Genji's going up to SS tier. Little did anybody know, let alone the devs that balance this fucking game, know that with giving Genji the DPS cauterized passive, the anti-healing passive, makes it so that when you get a reset on your dash, if you dash through multiple people and if you get a kill on somebody, it refreshes. His dash, if it hits one or multiple people, applies the passive. So Genji is able to get resets off of his dash and constantly just being able to just dash through people and get resets off that and applying the passive to everybody. Not only that, but he also got his projectile size on his shurikens buffed, so he's able to get a lot more consistent damage now, and he's able to farm ult way easier than before. Fucking busted. Genji's busted again, y'all. Genji's fucking busted. And not only that, he also has crazy mobility, so it's still pretty difficult to lock him down, but now he's able to apply cauterize to everything, prevent them from healing, and he's also able to get crazy good resets and just farm ult off everybody. Crazy good. Crazy good. If you guys are looking for Genji resurgence, at least right now, currently, at the launch of Season 9, Genji's back, which really sucks because I fucking hate playing against him. I hate Genji. Hanzo, going to A tier. This is probably the lowest I've put Hanzo in a while, but the main reason why is because like, they buffed his projectile size, but everything else has, like, more health now, so you're seeing a lot less Hanzos being able to just, like, one-tap somebody across the map, as opposed to, like, Season 8, but I still think he's incredibly good. It's really easy to land headshots on him because they buff the projectile size of his arrows, but at the same time, like, everybody else has more health, so you can't, like, one-shot a lot of stuff that you did previously because it has a lot more health or armor, so a little bit less consistent in that way, but, like, you're still able to, like, two-shot people with headshots, so instead of a one-shot, it kind of just went to, like, a two-shot on most things, which is still crazy, and it's even easier of a headshot to land, so arguably you could probably put him higher, but at least for me, I'm going to put him in an A tier. Junkrat's crazy. I'm going to put him in A+ tier. The only reason I'm not putting Junkrat higher is he still gets dove really easily, and he lost a lot of his burst potential. The only thing that makes him really, really good, though, is he's able to land a lot more consistent damage because they buffed the projectile size on his grenades. That's the main thing. He's able to just really farm easy ult now. If you have teams that are just grouped up or you're, like, playing choke points, Junkrat just fucking farms. Like, it's crazy. Like, going to the firing range, too, and, like, look at the projectile size on his grenades versus, like, a lot of the heroes in the game. Like, you don't even really need to fucking aim. Like, as long as you're, like, in the general area of somebody, like, you get full max damage because they're taking that much damage with the hitboxes and that type of thing. Lucio's kind of fallen off a little bit. I don't know. Like, what does Lucio really offer? I think Lucio, a lot of the supports in the game right now, is kind of not really the greatest. I'll put him at C tier, but mainly an ult bot. Apart from that, he just doesn't really do anything. He's a little bit more survivable because he got more health. But, like, being that he doesn't really heal to begin with, and the only reason why you pick him is because of the speed boost, which nobody really uses anyways unless you're 5-stacking, and is meant to be a solo Q tier list, then you're never going to really be seeing him that much. And if you do play him, he really just doesn't do anything. I think that's the main problem with Lucio. You pick him, he just doesn't really do much. That's right now, especially with the cauterized passive for the DPS. Mei is still really, really good. I'm not going to talk about her very much because nothing's really changed with her since last patch. If anything, she's even better because you can just land headshots all the way across the map now, even easier. Mercy's going into needs a rework tier, but if I were to place her in, like, any of these other tiers, I'd probably put her at, like, an A tier. But Mercy needs to be reworked. Way too easy to play, and she gets way too much value out of Blue Beam. I think the only thing that's kind of holding her back a little bit from being, like, above an A tier, in my opinion, is probably the cauterized passive. But, like, if they nerf the cauterized passive down to, like, 10%, or, like, down to 1.5 seconds or 1 second, then Mercy's going to be crazy good again. And even then, you're seeing a lot of people just sit in pocket with, like, Blue Beam, because having something that breaks damage, like damage numbers, and gives you more damage numbers, like Blue Beam, just sitting and holding one button the entire game and just pocketing either your tank or one of your DPS heroes that are just carrying your team, that's all you really do the entire game. She's so brain dead. Rework Mercy. Rework her. Unfortunately, Pharah had to suffer because of Mercy. Pharah is the one that actually got reworked, and she's garbage. Pharah is the worst rework they have done in the entire Overwatch franchise's history. If you guys do not know what they did, they took a Pharah's identity, which is being a flying hero that is meant to fly around the map with a rocket launcher and a booster and rocket grenades, and they killed her identity, so they made it pretty much where you only have like 5 seconds in the air. Your booster does not recharge in the air anymore, and it only recharges on the ground. Her jetpack, like her actual thruster, has like an 8 or 9 second cooldown, so you have about 5 seconds of airtime, but your thruster only has a 9 second cooldown. So like 90% of the time you're playing Pharah now, you're sitting on the ground trying to ricochet grenades off the ground. You can't even fucking play her in the air anymore. And then they also gave her like another ability. It's like a jet dash, which like propels you in whatever direction you're moving, which sucks. And they slightly buffed concussive grenade or concussive blast. It does 30 damage, but it has less knockback now. Like, I mean, I guess buff, reworked, whatever you want to call it for concussive blast, it's garbage. Pharah fucking sucks. They gotta either they revert Pharah back to what she was in Season 8 previously, or they buff her into oblivion. And I think at this point, unless they get rid of it to where you can't regen any booster unless you're touching the ground, unless they get rid of that, I think she'll forever be garbage. This is a prime example of a hero that was absolutely fucking balanced by an incompetent dev team that needs to be fucking terminated. And I was hoping Microsoft would lay off the dev team when they had budget cuts about a week or two ago, and obviously they never did. And this is one of the victims of the incompetent balance team that the Overwatch 2 currently has. Poor Pharah, and lucky me, Pharah was my most played DPS hero, and I can't play her anymore because she's so fucking bad. Round of applause, Blizzard. So lucky me too, like now I'm, at least for me personally, like I'm having to I'm forced to play other DPS heroes because my main one got reworked and it's unplayable now. Not to mention as well, the one thing they didn't take into consideration, every hit scan and projectile in the game also got the size and the reliability of being able to do damage buffed. So even if they had Pharah allowed her to like float in the air infinitely like she used to, or like just had like how she was before, like she would still be a lot easier to hit because everybody else got their shit buffed. So she would have more health, but she'd still be taking a lot more damage and she'd be way more incredibly easier to hit, even if she was the way she was before rework, which is something they did not take into consideration. And it's another thing that they did not obviously playtest at all. They just threw balance changes at a wall and just reworked her for no reason. The reason why they gave in the blog, like the rework blog that they talked about, was because they wanted her to play solo and not have to rely on a Mercy, which was never really the case anyways. Mercy always made Pharah better, but at least previously before she got reworked now, you could still play Pharah solo if you really wanted to, and if you were really good at her, you can make her work. That just goes to show you how fucking stupid the balance team for Overwatch 2 is. If I was somebody in charge at like in Overwatch HQ or like Blizzard HQ, I would terminate everybody on the balance team and I'd start from scratch. You could take a 2-year-old toddler and let them balance the game, and we would have a better balance patch for Season 9 by a 2-year-old just balancing the game, I think, than the current Overwatch employees that are actually balancing the game, that are actually being paid to balance the game. Fucking clowns. Reaper's going down to B tier. I actually think Reaper's probably the worst he's been in a while. Just mainly because his ult, his ult just never got a damage buff. Everybody has more health now, so it takes a lot longer for your ult to actually kill stuff. So there's a lot more chances for you to actually get killed during your ult. You can't just like teleport into enemies' backlines now and just drop like 3k off a Death Blossom. Same with his damage, like his damage is... Like, you can still, like, nuke stuff at close range, but a lot of stuff actually is able to brawl you now because they have more health. And plus, they're able to land a lot more damage on you because everything got their damage reliability buffed in the game, so... Even if you have crazy good aim and, like, you're diving on somebody and you caught them off guard, they can still 1v1 you and still sometimes win now because damage numbers and the damage reliability got dumbed down. So your random Joe Schmo, like, loser that normally would never be able to kill you, can now kill you because they dumbed down the game. That's why he's not as good. Still a tank shredder, though. If you want a tank shredder, I think Reaper is still, like, the main thing you're going to be picking him for is just shred the tanks. Just run at the tank the entire game and you'll still do fine if you want to play him that way. Which I think is probably the only way you really can play him currently. Reinhardt is actually the best he's been. I'm putting Reinhardt in SS tier. So I'm not going to say he's actually, like, nerf-worthy, though, because the one thing that's making him good is the cauterized DPS anti-healing passive. If that ever gets changed, I think Reinhardt will fall. But the real reason why everybody's playing Reinhardt and why he's really good right now is because he has a shield. So you're able to get out of the cauterized passive whenever you want, as long as you have your shield active, or have any, like, resource for your shield. That makes him really, really good. So you're able to play really good angles, and you're able to play a lot more aggressively than some of the other tanks in the game, like Hog and a few other ones that have no shield, and you're able to get out of dodge from the passive a lot more easily. This is the main reason why he's really good right now. Roadhog's F tier. Here's another hero. If you guys don't know, I'm a rank 41 hero prestige on Roadhog on Switch. He is like I think I have like a 98 point something play rate of Hog. That's like my only tank I play, and he's legit unplayable again. It goes to show you again. Here's another hero that they obviously did not play test or like think anything about. He got a bit of, I think he got like 200 extra health, No damage buffs, no healing buffs to his take a breather, nothing. He got nothing, he got no damage buffs either. The problem with Hog now is he can't kill anything. Everything else got extra health, so he can't kill anything now, unless they happen to have previous damage on them. But from like full, even if you land like a perfect combo with like his mine and a hook and everything perfectly, you still can't really even kill anything because everything else has so much health now, or armor. You don't do any damage. Your ult's like the only way you can actually get consistent kills because it does actually solid damage. That's the only way you can actually get like reliable kills now. And then if you try to use take a breather, the one thing you rely on for survivability is being able to heal yourself. And being that you have no shield, and everybody else actually has more easy to land damage and more reliable damage even previously than before, or like now than previously, you're even easier to take damage than before. And even before, like you had like in Season 8, you still had one of the biggest hitboxes in the game, apart from like Malga and a few other things tank-wise. Now you still have one of the easiest to hit hitboxes that's even more easy to hit by every single hero in the game. Plus they have a DPS passive that allows you to actually take less healing. 20% reduced healing, and your main way to actually survive is take a breather. Garbage. Roadhog's fucking garbage. Roadhog needs some serious fucking buffs to ever be viable, and it's really sad. If I cannot make him work when he's my most played tank and the most played hero I play in the entire game, and I'm a rank 41 prestige on the fucking guy and I can't make him work, this goes to show you how fucking awful he is. Soldier, wow, going to SS tier. So they took an already brain dead hero and they made the projectile and made him more reliable and his damage even more reliable. Wow. What do you think would happen? He's still crazy good, and he was SS tier, I think, for Season 8 too, and he's still really, really good. Symmetra is actually a lot better. I think the only problem with Symmetra is she just has no mobility, but like if you're able to just run at somebody, being that you just have crazy damage now, like, and you also have the passive where you prevent stuff from healing, a lot of the stuff that you're going against, the way to actually counter it before was just to heal through it. And now that you prevent people from healing through a lot of your damage, you just melt and like kill everything. So if you're able to get rolling and you're just able to run at stuff, you can just fucking destroy lobbies. I've seen it a couple times already. Just mainly because a lot of the things that you want to go against, the way for them to counter you is just being able to heal through a lot of your damage before you're able to get fully scaled, and they can't do that anymore. Torb, I think Torb's a little bit underwhelming, but I think like he's a DPS. I think the turret also applies Cauterize, the passive, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming it does because it's every type of damage from any type of DPS hero, like any damage they do, I'm pretty sure. So just that alone, I haven't put him in B tier. Tracer, I'm gonna put it A tier. A little bit more hit or miss, just mainly because the problem with her is like her damage numbers never got changed. Everything else, like everybody's health got buffed, and then like her ult also only does 100. I think it's 150 damage for a pulse bomb. So you're really kind of screwed now to where like you can't really get like consistent kills with pulse bomb anymore because everybody has so much health or extra armor. That's kind of the main problem. She's kind of just an ult bot, and you kind of have to just farm as much damage and ult as possible, and then try to just farm as many ults, and hopefully you get a couple kills off an ult, or like maybe be annoying enough to just kind of pick off some stuff in the enemy's backline. I don't know, that's kind of what she fits into right now currently. Widow needs a rework. Same as Season 8, I actually thought Widow would really fall off, but like Widow is another hero that seems to be like before for some reason. Really hit or miss. Like if you're a god at playing her, you land all the headshots and everything, you can still roll a lobby. But like if you have no idea what the fuck you're doing, you just get dove the entire game, and she's garbage. Probably one of the most inconsistent heroes in the entire game. And if they want to rework Pharah for whatever reason, I don't know why they chose her over like a Widowmaker. I think Widowmaker right now, I think apart from like Moira or Zenyatta, is probably the best candidate, at least like out of the DPS category that needed a rework. I don't know what they would do to rework her though, being a sniper. That's why they're being paid to do that type of stuff, but they don't know how to do their job to begin with. So don't have much faith in the balance team. Don't get your hopes up very much. Winston's D tier. Not as bad as Hog because he does have a shield, But like the problem with Winston is he has a huge hitbox. It's impossible to dive anything and actually get any damage because everybody got their health buffed. And if they shoot at you, you get no healing, so you're forced to jump away. It's really difficult to follow up on your kills now if you want to dive on stuff. And being like that your shield usually is just like temporary, it just gets destroyed really fast. Or most of the time, like you just drop it down and plop it down and on something anyways most of the time, and you just have to run away right away. You get no value out of it. So being that he has a shield but he gets no value out of it most of the time, can't really put it that much higher. Another victim too, I think Winston is never going to be good until the game gets reverted to 6v6, which hopefully with how much of a disaster Season 9 was, maybe 6v6 is on the horizon sooner than later. Maybe within the next 2 seasons, maybe for Season 11. We'll go back to Season 6, or 6v6. Not that, I don't know why I said Season 6. We got Zarya. I don't know where I'm going to put Zarya on here. I mean, Zarya has shields, but at the same time, like Zarya is a tank right now that you got to play flawlessly to actually make her work. She has a personal shield, she has a bubble, but they're on really high cooldowns, and even then you can kind of just damage through them because everybody's damage is way more consistent now. I'm going to put her in A tier, but that's kind of being generous. I don't know if you can argue either higher or lower. Zenyatta's going to SS tier. Here's another hero that they did not play test at all. Zenyatta with his ult negates any type of DPS passive, so you're able to pretty much just pop an ult and then make anything that you're ulting with on your team survive with an ult. And then the other thing that they did not even play test or take into consideration is the damage orb, plus being able to not heal. So what Zenyatta does now is he's actually a must pick. I think Zenyatta is a must pick support right now if you actually want to win a game. He's a must pick every single game. With just mainly for the damage orb. That not having the damage orb puts you at so much of a disadvantage. What you do with the damage orb is if you just throw it on the tank nonstop. You throw the damage orb on the tank nonstop, your DPS shoot at the tank gets no healing, plus they have amplified damage on them, so they get deleted in like 2 seconds if they don't have a shield. That's what Zenyatta does right now, y'all. How they did not nerf the damage amp from his Discord orb going into this season is absolutely fucking mind-boggling, and it goes to show you how fucking stupid the balance team for this game is. Like I said, I think a 2-year-old that was never played the game before going into balance would probably even be smarter and actually change that. Just like looking at a summary of what they were trying to do with this season and how that is in the game and never got changed at all, alongside of a DPS anti-healing passive stacking on that pretty much, is beyond me. Fucking stupid balance team. I don't know how this goes to show you they don't play test anything either. Like I think this entire season 9 dropping, like I don't think they play tested one thing at all. With how like a lot of this shit is, like some of this questionable shit going into the game is. Anna's still incredibly good. I'm not going to talk about her very much. She just has even more reliable damage, plus anti-grenade, still incredibly good. I'm not going to talk about her very much. Sombra, I'm going to put it like a C tier. The main problem with Sombra is she relies on getting kills on like really fast, like cheeky kills in enemy teams' backlines and catching people off guard. And when everybody else has more consistent damage and more health than you do most of the time, you can't really out-damage them anymore, and you're kind of just forced to run away and not get much value. So she's really difficult to get value out of now. You got to be really good at actually playing her to actually get value, which is kind of funny because I thought she was broken last season. Orisa's going into the must-pick category for tank. Not like Rein just because he has a shield, he's an SS tier, but Orisa's legit unkillable. I think she's the only tank in the game that doesn't have like an actual shield that still like is able to actually be played, just carry every single game. Orisa is what you call the I'm getting fucked and getting destroyed by the enemy team, so I'm going to switch to Orisa, and then if they don't switch, I instantly win the game type of tank. That's what she currently is. If you're getting fucked and you're getting destroyed by the enemy team or the enemy team's tank, you switch to Orisa, and if they don't counter pick you and they just keep playing what they're playing, they instantly lose. There should never be a fucking hero in the game like Orisa ever. And why they gave her even more armor at the start of this season is even beyond me, so that she's even more unkillable than Season 8. So she has crazy damage, she has a stun on like a 4 or 5 second cooldown, and she has a Fortify, which reduces her damage and makes her even unkillable even more so. Round of applause to the Blizzard balance team. You guys really know what you're doing. How are you being paid to balance this game? I have no idea. Common theme. We'll keep on with the common theme of the garbage balancing for some of these heroes. Doomfist, garbage. Doomfist is fucking garbage. I'm not gonna put him in like F tier, unplayable tier, because he does have like a shield that's like for, I think it's for his passive when he does damage. But the problem with Doomfist is he's a tank that has no way to get out of the DPS passive, and everybody got their health buffed, and it has more reliable damage, so that makes it so that you just get deleted. Garbage. Doomfist is garbage. Went from being probably one of the best tanks in the game for Season 8 to being fucking garbage with the inclusion of a cauterized DPS anti-heal passive. Moira got a new mythic skin. I think she actually needs to be... I don't know, if they buffed her damage... Does anybody actually heal with Moira? I really don't know. I don't even think... Like, at least the Moiras I get in my games, nobody actually plays Moira as a healer. Especially like your mid-tier ranked games. I mean, I'll put her at A+ tier. I don't think she's like S tier worthy, but you're going to see a lot of Moira in your games. If you actually heal with her, she's incredibly good. But like 90% of your lobbies, especially like your mid-tier ranked lobbies, the people that pick Moira are just the people that just go into enemy team's backline and play DPS Moira. They never heal at all the entire game, and they just play DPS. So you're forced to play with one support, and even now, I think even more so for this season, having only one support on your team guarantees that you're going to get rolled in probably like 3 minutes. So... if you see a Moira on your team that is playing DPS Moira, take their name, send in a support ticket to Blizzard, and get them banned. I think that is legit ban worthy this season, 100%. Break's still good. I haven't seen much Break being played, but I think she's still incredibly good. She also has a shield, so she's also able to stay out of her enemies' cauterize or like the enemy DPS passive. Granted, it's not really like a crazy shield, but at least she has something to try to make plays with and kind of stay out of damage sometimes. Still really solid. I'm not going to put her higher than A tier though. Ball's garbage, unplayable. A tank that has little shields and doesn't really do anything. Like his damage numbers are the same. Like he just gets shit on by everything. Everything has more consistent damage, so they're able to hit you a lot easier. Plus the DPS passive, like it just spells disaster for Doom or for Ball. It's another character, too, that needs a rework. You could arguably probably put Wrecking Ball into needs a rework tier as well, but by the time they rework Wrecking Ball, like, the game will probably be changed to 6v6, probably, then it will be on, like, Season 20, because they don't give a fuck about Wrecking Ball at all. Only heroes that Blizzard gives a shit about is, like, Kiriko and Mercy and all the ones that actually sell skins. They don't give a fuck about any of the other ones. Hence, look at Roadhog and look at some of the other really low-tier heroes on this list, like Winston and Ball. Ashe is going to SS tier. Wow, you would never know if they actually play tested this, because if you buff the fucking damage on Ashe when she's already a headshotting machine, and you make it even easier to land consistent damage and headshots, and allow her to actually make it a lot easier to shoot her dynamite midair and get damage with her dynamite. Wow, she becomes a top tier DPS again. Who would have guessed? Why you don't... They must not playtest anything in this fucking game before they put it into live. Baptiste SS tier. I'm not even gonna talk about them because other ones haven't really changed. Sigma SS tier has a deployable shield that you can put out and recharge whenever you want. Allows them to stay alive a lot more than a lot of these other tanks. Just makes them really consistent. Plus he has really solid damage still and a really good ult. Just everything you really want out of a tank. Not really like busted tier, like nerf instantly, like tier worthy as like Orisa is currently, but still really, really good. Mainly just because he has a shield though. Echo I'm going to put in A tier. I think if you actually want a flying character right now, I think what I'm going to end up having to do is actually have to switch to Echo. Because I think that's what I'm going to probably end up doing, at least me personally, because Pharah is unplayable now. Echo is kind of at least similar to Pharah, so maybe I can make it work. At least me personally, that's what I'm going to have to do. But if you want a flying character, the only one in the game currently that's at least available, at least for the DPS category, is Echo. That's actually, you can actually do something on. That is not Pharah. So putting her in A tier. Soldier in SS tier. They nerfed her. They nerfed her projectile size a little bit, but like when everybody else has more health and allows you to just do more damage to them, she just becomes even more of a DPS ult bot and like just does crazy damage. Another hero that should have got nerfed into the ground, but they didn't do anything to her at all, and she's back to just running the game. I think she's probably the best DPS hero in the game right now, alongside probably Soldier 76. And I guess Ashe. I guess maybe alongside Ashe. Junkrat Queen's going to D tier. I'm not going to put her in F tier, but I think she's going to D tier because she's fucking unplayable. Again, another hero that has, or another tank that has no way to get out of the cauterized passive for the DPS. So she just doesn't do anything. And she has no mobility either, so she just gets shit on. Kiriko going to SS tier. More reliable damage on everything. She's able to farm her ult a lot more because everybody has more health. So she's able to just sit and heal bot if she wants to. Just to farm ult over and over. Plus she has a lot more reliable damage, being able to just land headshots and that type of thing. Because everybody has more reliable type of damage with all those changes. Nothing with her's really changed. Plus she also has the cleanse. The cleanse is able to clear you from anti-nade plus the cauterized DPS passive. It may be on a crazy cooldown now, but just having that alone makes her crazy good. Ramattra's going up in is the second best tank in the game. Ramattra, I think, out of every single tank, is the one that has not changed at all, really. Just from like the end of Season 8. He was like probably the top 2 best tanks at the end of Season 8. And he has incredibly good damage. He has shield, he has a bunch of armor. He has decent mobility because he gets a movement speed boost that allows you to make some plays. Kind of just everything you really want out of a tank right now. I think he needs to be nerfed. I really do. We got Life Weaver. Life Weaver, the heal bot. I'm putting Life Weaver at A+ tier. The only problem with Life Weaver is he is mainly a heal bot, and he doesn't really do much else. If you want a heal botter, I think you can play Life Weaver. Illari, I think, is actually really bad. I think the Illari, being that everybody else just has more health now, and being able that everybody's able to land a lot more reliable damage. The main way that she heals is with her totem. And being that everybody has, at least the DPS have cauterized now, it makes her totem a lot less useful. Especially when it's getting destroyed constantly. And being that she has limited resource on her alternate healing, you can't keep an entire team fully sustained anymore. It's really difficult to keep a team sustained with Illari. It really is. Unless the enemy team's just fucking stupid and they never destroy your healing totem. But like she's been in the game for like 3 seasons now, at least. I think people are starting to realize, wow, I see a healing totem on the enemy team, they have an Illari. If I just keep shooting at the healing totem, she's not going to do anything the entire game. At least she won't do anything healing-wise. Then we got Malga. I think Malga, out of all the tanks that have no shield, is probably one of the better ones. I'll probably put him in like a B tier. But the only reason I'm doing that is because it's passive or whatever gives him healing as long as he's doing damage. Plus, he just has so much health, it's really difficult to break through. I think the only thing that he did get a little bit of a buff too. Like everybody got their ult charge reduced by 10%, but like with everybody else getting extra health, he also kind of got a buff because he's able to kind of farm ult a lot more freely with everybody else having extra health pools. So I don't know. I don't think he got killed though. I think we went from Malga being like game breaking, probably the most OP tank on release for Season 8, to being like probably one of the most mid tanks in the entire game. I think the only way you're gonna really be playing him as well is like if you're going against like some of these lower tier tanks. He wins against like every single one of these lower tier tanks, like all the ones in D tier and like F tier. Like if you want to get an insta win versus them, you play Malga if you really want to play him. He struggles in some of the more higher tier ones, like I don't know. I wouldn't really pick him into into Rein unless you want to shoot at a shield the entire game. Like Ramattra kind of just blocks a lot of your damage and just charges ult off you. And there's a few other ones that you don't really have the greatest matchup into. Really hit or miss, just really middle of the pack, but that is your entire list, y'all. Overall, I think this game is a fucking balancing disaster right now, y'all. I say it every single tier list, but like even with this one more so. Like it is just so bad. Hopefully they have some really fast hotfix balance changes on the way within this next week, because this game fucking sucks. Mainly for the tank players. Tank right now is probably the most miserable it's ever been. You have legit, like I guess Orisa and Ramattra, they've been good for a while, but like Ryan's only being played because he has a shield. Same with Sigma, like they both have shields. You have four tanks. You have 4 tanks out of the entire tank category right now that are able to actually be played and actually do something in your matches. And every single other tank, I guess maybe hit or miss, apart from Malga, is legit almost fucking unplayable. Legit unplayable in unplayable tier. 99% of the times you play any of the tanks in D tier or F tier, or even like sometimes Malga, you're never going to really be doing anything. You just get shit on the entire game. That is how awful Tank is right now currently. I think Tank is the one that's got absolutely fucked with this Season 9 patch. DPS, the majority of the DPS are good. Like, there's a few that are a little bit lower on here, like, for obvious reasons, but they don't really need as much help as, like, a lot of the tanks do, and I think the tanks are fucking garbage right now. They really are. I don't know. I don't know what they would really change. I think the main thing they need to change is the cauterize passive. They either need to reduce the percentage or reduce the duration. Or both. Both need to be reduced. And they need to buff some of these really bad tanks. Roadhog needs major buffs. Ball needs major buffs. They gotta buff Junker Queen. Buffing her damage by 30 on her knife, on her Gracie, was not enough. I don't know. And then I think Doom got a little bit of buffs, but like it wasn't nearly enough to actually make him viable when he gets no heals and he just gets shit on by everything. So, and then Winston again too needs some type of buff, some damage buffs or something. I don't know what you would even do. And you have some of the other shit up here that's just crazy good. I think Genji will probably go down. Actually, it just kind of comes down to like the DPS passive. I think he's just really good just mainly because that's so broken right now. The DPS passive, the anti-heal passive is so fucking busted. I think once they change that, you'll see a lot of changes, at least balance-wise. That's the main thing they need to rework and, like, kind of make changes to. And then after that, they need to make more specific changes to a lot of stuff. Zenyatta is another one, too. I think Zen needs to have his Discord orb nerfed significantly. Same with maybe even his ult, because they're both really busted. There's a few other DPS, too, like Soldier is incredibly good. Ashe mainly is good, mainly because of the DPS passive, and they buffed, like, the reliability of everybody's damage, but I don't know. This comes down to what they really want to change balance-wise. I think the main thing they need to change first is the DPS passive because it's fucking busted. It's the best passive in the game. And the only thing you do is DPS, like, the one thing you do is DPS, you just sit and shoot at the tank the entire game. Non-stop, as long as the enemy team's tank is alive, you just hard target the tank non-stop the entire game until they're dead. And then you focus the rest of their team. That is all you do as a DPS. Because your passive is so viable and so valuable to getting rid of the tank. If your team is able to get rid of the enemy team's tank and just keep killing them over and over, you automatically just win the game. That's what it kind of really comes down to. And then especially if they have no tank, you're just able to steamroll the rest of their team. Apart from that, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That is the list. I know there's going to be some people that disagree with me. I don't know, tough shit. 100% opinionated. If you guys want to throw some shit in the comments down below, let me know your guys' own list. And if I forgot to mention something or forgot to talk about something or something I'm kind of glossing over and not really realizing, at least currently, let me know. Apart from that, hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like, subscribe, share the video. And I got a bunch more stuff on the way. Got some Apex Legends stuff on the way, and I got some more Overwatch 2 stuff on the way. So you guys not want to miss it. Peace out, everybody. And I'll see you guys in a future video.